of the victorious CLG.
Thank you very much, Riv. Hey, guys, we're happy to be joined by Link and Afromu here of Counterlogic Gaming. Guys, congrats on the win. Knowing you came in as third place, you're going to be there no matter what. How are you thinking going into this game?
We were after the loss versus Curse, we wanted to win because nobody really likes losing, and so we decided to try a bit harder,
okay.
and we pretty much crushed them.
So actually, one thing that was a common trend though is the Heimerdinger ban. Are you researching these teams? You know they play Heimer, or you just still like the long name to see it in Champ Select?
Yeah, we've seen them played in solo queue a few times, and I'm pretty sure it's really good top lane. It's just super annoying for Nian to play against and for us to play against, and we just don't want to deal with it.
Okay, so legitimate bans then. So coming through then, actually, one thing I noticed from picks and bans is we don't see as much Leona anymore. A lot of people playing Karma, a lot more Thresh and Morgana. Afro, of course, you play Leona here. Why do you think she's fallen off, and why are you still playing her?
Leona is really good all the time. It's just probably personal preference when people would rather make flashy plays landing a hook. Well, maybe the public think that's more skill-oriented than playing Leona. You just throw your spell. But yeah, Leona's pretty fun and pretty much does the same thing as the other champions do, with just more damage and more tankiness. I just don't think supports like to be on the front line. They'd rather sit back and just gauge what they should and shouldn't do instead of just going all in.
Yeah, still counts if you get the skill shots on Leona. But I do kind of want to ask you, since we don't often interview the losing team, and you guys were 0-2 on the week coming into this one, what do you think happened kind of high level in those two earlier losses to Cloud9 and also Curse?
Cloud9 was pretty much, we lost division control, and that's a really big reason why we lose a lot of our games, and that's mainly due to us having poor vision around mid.
Okay.
So that's something we're trying to work on and trying to improve on. But Cloud9, messed up, and they kind of threw and let us back into the game because we played some team fights well. And then, of course...
and there's a Curse game.
Yeah, and then there's a Curse game where we were just kind of trying out different things, and there's not a lot of stuff, or you don't really get the opportunity to try out a lot of different things at a very high-stakes match without it really mattering too much.
Right.
So, it's like being able to plan in a LAN environment. So pretty much we were just kind of going into it like a scrim, and we were trying out different picks. And we also had a picks and ban strategy where we wanted to just leave everything up and see what would happen. And they got some OPs and we got some OPs, and we learned a lot from that game despite us losing. And that's something that we're gonna be utilizing for the future.
Yeah, and looking towards the playoffs as well. Speaking of the future, since you guys are locked in the 3 seed, Coast is locked in the 6th seed. Talk to me a little bit about Team Coast, and I mean not what you're going to do against them, but talk to me what their strengths are.
Team Coast's strengths are assassins and snowballing their solo laners mostly, and they pretty much rely on that solely. And the jungler and bottom lane just focus on trying to keep wards up so those guys can do what they want to do.
And of course, that's working for them a little bit. One thing I want to talk to you guys about is your bot lane. We have a replay actually of a big, gigantic dive there. Most of the team got involved in it. If we can get the replay on your screen. Talk to me about how you guys set up all these kills.
Okay, we already killed Crepo. All right, so we kill Crepo. Oh, what the hell? Oh, he's dying right now. Okay, so we kill Crepo right now, and he walks up with his 80 carry back there, and we don't know what he was doing. We're like, what the heck? So we just kill Crepo right away. He flashes, and then I land my ult with Ignite, and Peter hits the last calling right there. That was pretty good. And then Lee Sin is coming around, and we're like, okay, we can do this, guys. Caitlyn's really low, and their mid laner and jungler is coming over, and so is Link. And we know we can fight this. Ziggs has no flash. Link is calling out right here, and we just kill the high priority targets, which is Caitlyn first, then onto Ziggs, who has no flash. And we just clean it up after they try and escape.
Who's calling all the target shots?
Link and Double. Link is focused on Ziggs right now, who has no flash, and Double is just focused on killing Snoopy right now.
Did he yell at you to be like, hey, by the way, I got this. Don't follow him down the cliff?
Yeah.
Yeah. We were like, yeah, Link, you got that. Let's kill Snoopy.
Okay. So the in-fight rotations seem to be pretty strong from you guys. The shot calling comes out pretty well. And it is you two who are mostly balancing the shot calling as a team, right?
Pretty much.
Yes.
So what?
And, I mean, if the features to be believed, you guys are also developing that synergy outside the game. Is the friendship still coming? I did see some jealousy from Double If come out. He almost joined Pain Gaming on April 1st.
Oh, yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what was happening there. I don't know what he's doing.
Would you be sad if he and Dexter left the team?
No.
Not at all.
I would.
Oh, okay.
I don't want Peter to leave. I love him just as much as I love Link.
There we go. You're very neutral. That's a very smart response. Also, we could hear, though, Cloud9 and TSM did come out on the stage, and this game actually holds pretty heavy implications for you guys. If the playoffs are to go according to seeding, you would end up playing the second seed in the second round of the playoffs, which would most likely be the loser of this game. Question, who would you rather play, Cloud9 or TSM?
TSM. Because I think Cloud9 is way superior in terms of team coordination, and they have really good vision control, and I think they're the best at it right now. But I think TSM has superior laners, so it's kind of a toss-up. But it's really more annoying to play versus Cloud9 because if they're ever in that even position and you're not winning lane and it's just an even game, then they just seem to just pressure the map like crazy. And just playing versus them it's really annoying, and it's and it's fun at the same time because it's just a battle of wards.
So then going into a match against a team like TSM who has such a strong laning phase, how do you prepare for something like that? How do you get like, oh, we'll just magically get better at laning?
Well, you generally want to focus a lot of things in scrims. So whether it's like 1v1 practice, whether it's like practicing matchups constantly, whether it's figuring out a picks and ban strategy where you can maybe outdraft them so that they all have losing lanes and you have like winning lanes, or maybe you have a superior team comp. So it all comes down to that. And I feel like a lot of the times when we have a superior team comp, then we usually can pull it off. But I mean, of course, there are times when TSM will have the superior team comp and they'll beat us, like they have 3 times in the past.
Sure. Okay, so let's actually talk about back in the game real quick. We have a second replay we want to get your thoughts on. This is a big climactic Baron fight. It's a pretty big deal for you guys. It actually kind of seals the deal for you guys. If you want to walk me through it.
So we pretty much have complete control over red, and we see Nidalee bottom. And we know that they have no wards, so our initial instinct is to kill Elise that's walking in and face checking. And Lisa manages to get a kickoff, but he manages to rappel onto Leona. And then he basically just misses my ulti. And then Shyvana TP's in, and pretty much this team fight is just a cluster. Like everybody is going everywhere and trying to kill people. Nian's going to go for the Caitlyn, and Lucian and Leona will be going for Ziggs. And then I'm by myself killing Thresh. And basically what happens is Double is really strong, and he can basically 1v9. And that's pretty much what happens in the team fight. And, Afro gets a catch. And I think Nidalee manages to... Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I died, man.
And it's strange. Cluster fights like this are kind of unavoidable in competitive League of Legends. And kind of all your shot calling stuff goes out the window. How do you develop trust with Dexter and all the new guys on the team, since he's only been with you for about 15 games, knowing who's going to go where?
Basically, it's like 2 groups in a team fight. And whoever's around you is what you usually listen to first. Whoever's voice is next to you, and you know who's next to you, and you know what they're going to do. So if you're by yourself, you're just trying to see what you can do and where the high priority targets are if you need to go, or if your team has it or not.
And actually, one thing that you mentioned during the replay actually was that Doublelift was super fed. You said he could 1v9. How do you change your sort of game plan? How do you change your shot calling when you're like, okay, this player is a big key for us? Like, anything involving Doublelift will be a win. How do you change your calls? How do you change your movements?
Basically, if you're the strongest person on the team, that means it's the easiest place to make plays around that person. So if Doublelift is the strongest person, then all we have to do on the top and middle side is to not die and not make the play. And that means that if Doublelift is strong and they manage to 3v3, then they're going to win the 3v3 probably, right? So that's how the game kind of changes. And then, but the game changes when there's like TPs are factored in, and maybe I might lose mid, which means that maybe Pabelter can roam bottom or something like that. Then that all becomes a factor, and we want to rotate and move around so that there's as little factors that can affect Doublelift in dying, or at least the strongest person. So what happens is maybe if they can manage to like 5-man bottom somehow, then we won't send Doublelift bottom. We'll send him like mid or top or something like that, right? Okay. So that he doesn't, die.
Sure.
Yeah. Final question for you here. Knowing the Cloud9 TSM's coming up next, and you hailing from the mid lane, Hai versus Bjergsen is that matchup. Kind of tell me the strengths of each of those players and how you think that matchup's going to go.
I feel like Hai has been kind of more innovative recently with his picks. So he's been pulling out a lot of strong counter picks, and Mios is always a really strong jungler with his, so he can back him up really well. And their 2v2 is insane. And not only that, the third person that is really unnoticed is really Lemon. Lemon is always there middle to back up, and he's kind of like people don't really notice him because he's just clearing wards and stuff. But when you don't have wards on the middle side, you just feel really scared, and it pressures the other middle laner. So Bjergsen and Odd1 and Xpecial really have to work really well together if they're going to want to control mid and if they want to get an advantage in the early mid game. Because I really feel like if you can control mid, then you're going to win the game.
All right.
Link, thank you very much. Aframe, thank you very much as well. Congrats on your win. We'll see you guys in the playoffs as well as tomorrow. We've got more games. We're going to take a short break first, and when we come back, we'll get to our final LCS game of the day, the battle for first place with Team Solo Mid versus Cloud9. We'll take a 3.5-minute break, turn up